Oh, what's he done? There he is.
Well, good evening and welcome to another riveting episode of Saints FC Unscripted. Joining me tonight, Lee Payne and Daniel Taylor. Good evening, gents.
Good evening.
Lots to talk about. We haven't done this for a little while, have we? I think when we last did a little sit down chat, Will Steele was still in charge. So a lot has happened since then. So lots to talk about. So where were we? Yeah, Will Steele left after some really poor performances, and Tonda was appointed as interim boss. Thoughts on that, guys? First and foremost, I mean, let's go all the way back, I guess. Who wants to go?
Dan, you carry on.
Frustrating. If I'm going to wind back how I felt when he was getting appointed, yes, he done well in that interim stage, but he isn't the future. We were crying out for someone with some experience within the division at least, or higher, someone that's been around the block a couple of times. And I kind of cast back to the season before after Martin, and you look where Everton are now. Why didn't we push and get a Moyes, who's been around the block? So that's where I am with Tonda. It wasn't right. The bit that stands out for me is that there's a few people on that fan advisory board for Southampton Football Club who had a meeting with Johannes Spors, who said to them categorically, Tonda will not be appointed manager, and it is purely an interim-only position. So it kind of goes on to another fact of, being deceived, lied, whatever you want to call it, by the senior leadership team at Southampton Football Club. Lee, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, it's a similar thing, I think. I look back at it, and I do have, as I sit here today, having just had the Middlesbrough game, and we've got a long way to go before we get to that, I do have some sympathy with the club when he won 5 out of 6 games. I think they were a bit damned if they do, damned if they don't in appointing him. I don't think they had a lot of choice but to appoint him. If they'd have not appointed him and got an older head, Steve Bruce, somebody like that, I don't think the fans, Wiz fans, would have liked that. I think they almost had to do it. But we spoke at the time, Matt, especially, obviously, because we sit together, that what was going to happen when he had a bad sticky patch. Did he have the experience to come out of that sticky patch? While it was all going well, it was fine. But now we've come to the sticky patch, the going's getting tough. Has he got the experience to deal with it? And at the moment, it's looking like he hasn't. But as I say, I kind of felt the club almost didn't have any choice but to give him the job. And I've spoken to people who said, oh, he should have just left him as interim manager for the rest of the season. I don't think they could have done, because I think it would have got to the point where he would have gone, you've either got to employ me or I'm going to go. Or he'd have kept doing all right and someone would have swooped him and offered him a job. So I think they almost had to. I think we were all probably, well, he's won 5 out of 6, it's okay. But I think there was always that nagging doubt that he's actually younger than Will still as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I don't think he's even got as much experience, managerial experience as Will still. There was always that nagging doubt. Should they be doing this?
Yeah, I think for me, as you said, they were. I mean, it got so bad towards the end of Will Steele's tenure, didn't it? That pretty much anything was, any upturn was going to be much better. And I don't think anyone foresaw the upturn in performances that that turgid group of players put in. I mean, they were woeful. under Will Still towards the end, and they absolutely threw him under the bus. And then Tonda comes in, and all of a sudden they look like a completely different group of players. So winning 5 out of the 6, as you said, they were caught between a rock and a hard place. If they didn't give it to him and they gave it to somebody else, and that person came in and lost the first 3 games, everyone would have said, "Oh, you should have given it to Tonda." So I think there were lots of reports that they'd interviewed people, wasn't there, and they'd spoken to lots of different candidates. I get the feeling they didn't have the opportunity to get in the person they really wanted. Had they had, I don't know. I mean, you know, Danny Roll. If Danny Roll had still been available, would they have pumped for him? Probably, wouldn't they? I just get the feeling the person that they really wanted wasn't out there. It wasn't.
The thing is, we
got
caught as well, didn't we, in that managerial situation, because you know Rob Edwards was leaving Middlesbrough at the same sort of time. There were a few jobs. I think Brendan Rodgers had just left Celtic as well. You know, a big job. You know, I'm not being funny, but I think if all 3 of us can be honest and say, out of the 3 clubs, if one came knocking, you're probably going to go to Celtic. You know, if you're after the same manager. Middlesbrough are at the top of the league. You know, with Coventry, again, you'd be looking at that job before I think you looked at Southampton, to be honest. So it was a difficult market for managers as well. I don't know how serious the links were to Russell Martin coming back, but I know in our group chat we were like, absolutely not. But no. You don't know. At the end of the day, I could have chucked 100 grand if I had it on you, Matt Payne, to be manager, and you would have then been odds on favourite. You know, looking at the bookies' odds is nonsense. So but it was, like I say, a difficult market for managers with what was going on elsewhere, you know, in the country and in the different leagues.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, and you know, you can't take away from Tonda those first 6 or 7 games. I mean, we were brilliant, weren't we? I mean, I remember sitting down there, Lee, and saying to you, I mean, like, what is this? Where has this come from? I mean, it's like a completely different team.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. And all of a sudden, you know, St Mary's was a bit more positive, and the atmosphere was just starting to get a bit better every week, and it was great. And then we
well, then he got the job full time,
don't we? Yeah
is what happened. I mean, I was fortunate enough to go to the Charlton away game with my 2 boys, and it was unbelievable.
What was his first game in charge? Was it Sheffield Wednesday at home?
QPR, wasn't it?
QPR away, was it? Oh, okay.
We won
yes,
2-1.
it was.
The really backs to the wall last 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
The game after that, they just opened up, didn't they? And absolutely obliterated teams in the first half. So Charlton game, I looked at Charlie, the 5th goal went in, and he was just laughing. He couldn't believe it. It was dreamland.
Yeah.
It was free-flowing, attacking, moving the ball as quickly as you can, quickly forward as you can. If you've got the ball, go forward. There was none of this Martin-esque Martin ball around the back. It was get the ball forward as quickly as you can, and as few passes as you can. Give the ball to Cienza on the wing, go, fly. And it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. And then when did he get appointed? Was it just before Birmingham?
Yeah, I think so, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Was it a day before?
Yeah, because
they done it at a really weird time, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah, because we'd lost to Millwall, hadn't we? And I remember us saying, "Oh, it's risky appointing him right, you know, the day before, or or was it the morning of they announced?
Yeah, I think it might have been the morning of the
Birmingham game. Because I said to you, Lee, this Birmingham game, it's a tough game. You know, if he's lost at Millwall, if he loses again today, then everyone's going to be questioning why they've given it to him. But you know, fair play, he beat Birmingham, then he goes and beats West Brom, and that's when we get into the start of the decline away at Norwich.
Did it all start in the second half of the West Brom game, where we blew them away in the first half 3-0, and then we came out, and they were a completely different team.
Yeah,
I mean, what happened? And we were lucky to get the win in that game.
And that was probably the first run of second half performances where we were like, what? How can they go from playing like that in the first half to now just completely capitulating in the second half? I mean, the second half became such a bad 45-minute period for us. Really confusing. Really confusing.
It's a really, just a difficult time. Like you say, I remember us sharing the joke tweets to Sky Help saying, I'm trying to watch Saints and it's prime 2005 Real Madrid coming up.
Yeah.
But then the second half was just like, oh no, don't worry, it's working. Saints are back on the telly. And it was dire, I get it. He wanted, I think at that point when we were winning sort of 2-3-0 in the first half, I think the focus just went onto a clean sheet. We've had a goal, a keeping a clean sheet problem for a long time. We've conceded stupid goals for years. It's not even just been a recent thing. That's been Saints all over. But has he gone the other way now, where he's so focused on trying to reduce the number of goals going in our net that he's forgotten actually to win the game? We need to be over there, mate, and scoring in the other end.
Yeah.
The Liverpool philosophy, if we want to sort of have it under Klopp, was we're just going to outscore you. And the way we were playing, I don't get why we've changed that. Of going, yeah, do you know what? Might concede, might not get a clean sheet, but we're going to score more goals than you at the end of the day and win the game. And I know we'd all moan, we're all guilty of this. Oh, why can't we keep a clean sheet? Or why are the games always so tight? I'd be happy winning 4-3 every week, 3-3, 2-2-1, as long as we're outscoring the other team. But we've lost that capability.
Yeah.
Do you think there's an element of when he was caretaker manager, it was almost like, I'm just going to go for it. I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to set up an attacking team, wingers high, the fullbacks high and wide, and we are going to go for it with everything we've got. And then he gets given the job, and there's suddenly I just need to put the brakes on a little bit here because I'm now the full-time manager. I can't afford to mess around. So I'm just going to try and squeeze everything, compact everything, bring Cienza in, bring Azaz in, which obviously hasn't worked because he's taken Cienza out of his best position, and it's completely nullified our attack. All in the thought process of Tonda, I'm going to concede less and just be more difficult to beat, not quite so open.
Yeah.
Has he gone and done that?
That brings me on to the next point I was going to suggest for us to talk about, was these fantastic performances, and then all of a sudden, we look completely just a different team to it. So what do we think the reasons are behind why we have just lost what we were doing? I mean, we are like a completely different team. What do you think has gone on? Why do you think the performances have had such a massive drop off and the results have turned? What do you think's going on?
We stopped scoring goals, ultimately, and we stopped the simple stuff. All of a sudden we've got Bazunu again passing across his 6-yard box, scaring the life out of all of us. There is a mistake there. I won't go into his keeping errors. He will make a mistake playing out from the back. It will come, and it will be in a really important game. It always has done with Bazunu. So that's the first bit. I think we've got all the possession, but we're doing nothing with it. And I think what Lee said is absolutely spot on. We haven't got our best players in their best positions. When you look at it like that, it's not hard. Put your best players in the best positions for them and let them do something with the game and get them the ball. Armstrong, I think he's had a great season, and I think actually he's the one that I do have confidence because it will take the quick snapshot and he'll get a goal. I don't think, he might dry up for a few games like he has, but I think he'll come back from that quite easily. But the drop off from Azaz, for example, and I genuinely believe that that's because Cienza's gone a bit quiet. Cienza was taking the limelight, and actually him playing well was making everyone else around him look good. And I think then Azaz started playing free, but all of a sudden, I think Cienza's gone quiet. They're all trying to step up, and they've realised that, well, Azaz, for example, has got the touch of a 2-year-old. It honestly is horrific. Yeah, like I say, I think that's the majority of it, is that we're just playing people in the wrong positions.
We were discussing Azaz today at work, and for me, he's a strange player. If he's playing well, he's a 9 out of 10, and he's a quality player. But there's no average game for him. He's either up here or he's down here.
Yeah.
And when he's down here, his first touch is horrific. His work rate's horrific. He's got no strength. His passing goes off, and he can't find a pass. And he's a complete passenger. Getting back to Cienza, I'm going to put some of the blame on Tonda here, because I don't understand the thought process. He's either carrying a knock that we don't know about, in which case come out and tell us he's got a knock and you're trying to protect him. But why do you bring him off on the 56th minute against, was it Oxford?
Yeah.
Then you leave him on the bench and you bring him on with half an hour to play. You then take him off at half time, and then you let him play the whole 90 minutes when you're losing 3-0, 4-0. I don't understand the thought process in that. So Tonda's got that. He's also moved this position from wide left mid winger. He's brought him inside, and he's playing almost behind the striker, which is giving him less space. I mean, I'm taking a little bit off Joe Tessam here, but Joe knows what he's talking about. So he's moved his position, but we can see he's moved his position. He's collecting the ball near the 18-yard box with his back to goal. He's got defenders on him straight away. When we were, who was it? In the second half, he had a lot of the ball on the wing. We couldn't score. I can't remember who it was now. There's been so many games. But he was wide on the wing, and he was getting cross after cross after cross in. He was beating his man, getting the cross in. And that's another story, crossing to the short asses up front. But you've got to play these players in their best position. Yellett's fit now. Get Tom Fellows up on the right wing. Play 4-2-3-1, 4-1-4-1. I mean, if it were me, I want to see Oro Romeo on the pitch, a leader. It's clear he's not fit. It's clear he hasn't got the legs to be a box-to-box. So, Oriel, just sit in front of the back four, mate. I don't want to see you go past the halfway line. Just sit. You don't. You've got Yander, you've got Bragg, you've got Downs, you've got Charles. They're going to do all your running for you. Just sit, talk, and be a leader. But I don't know. He comes out with a lot of. He talks quite well in the press, doesn't he? I mean, his explanation about 3 at the back, and it's not about positions. It's about this and that. I get it, but 3 at the back is not working.
No.
And has he got the kahunas now and the nous to change it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it goes back to that thing, doesn't it, where we said, whilst he was caretaker boss, it was a free for all. He was positive. He did. He wanted to go out and win games. He wanted to get the job. Now he's got the job. Yeah. Is there a bit of? Well,
how does he keep the job?
I've got to keep it now. I've not got to concede goals. I've got to win games. I've got to protect my own job as well as try and bring these players up. So there is an element of that. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I'm no football coach. I'm no football tactician. But I don't understand the formation we're playing. I mean, you're playing Tom Fellows as a pure right wing back with no other right-sided player on the pitch. Yet, where is Cienza playing? Because you've got Manning on the left-hand side to play as your left wing back, but it's almost like Cienza's been told to play that role as well. So he's dropping deep to find the ball now as well. But then, I mean, we were sat there, Lee, on New Year's Day. Like, Jack Stevens at one point looked like he was playing wide left, and we were like, What's Jack Stevens doing? He's wide left. What's he doing at? So I'm at a complete loss with how the formation, how the system works. I mean, my limited football coaching you play the players in their best positions, as you said, Dan. You know, Cienza is a winger, play him on the wing. He's not an attacking central midfielder. You know, he's a pure out and out winger. Get him out on the wing, which is where he was causing all the problems. He was picking up the ball wide on the left. He was beating a player, beating the second player. He was cutting in or crossing the ball, and that's where we were having all our joy, weren't we? And I'm confused. So I think there is definitely an element of Tonda trying to protect himself.
See, what's he done with the centre backs as well? Because he's moved them around.
I wish he'd dropped them all.
Well, Harwood Bellis, whatever we think of him, when he was the right centre back, he was doing a good job.
Yep.
He was playing a lot better. He was having a lot of the ball. He's got a pretty good ping on him, Martin Luther ping. He's got a good. I couldn't resist it. He's got a good pass on him. Great, you can do it, right? Leave Wood and Stevens or Quasi doing what they're doing. Give Harwood Bellis a majority of the ball. Let it. Fine, get it. And then the last home game, he's moved them all around. Harwood Bellis is in the middle. Wood's on the right.
Yeah.
Why's Nathan Wood got a lot of the ball?
The worst passer in the team.
I don't get it. And then don't get me started on Ronnie Edwards, QPR Player of the Year. He can't even get on our bench. I mean, that is disgusting as far as I'm concerned.
And the rumours are that he's going to end up at QPR as a full-time player. And he jumps, without doubt, straight into their starting 11.
Without doubt.
Yeah.
You know, are QPR ahead of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's put that into perspective. QPR are ahead of us in the division. They're going to buy Ronnie Edwards, by the sounds of it. You know, by the sounds of it, that is going to be done. And he's going to walk straight into their playoff place starting 11.
Yeah.
He won.
It make sense.
He won last season's Young Championship of the
that's right.
of the season.
Yeah.
On 4 months worth of games.
Yeah.
So this is what I've been saying to you guys in our private chat for ages. He's clearly a player.
Without doubt.
You know, so what? And he's the type of player that, you know, you want to bring into your club to see him develop and help build your team and build your club. He's England under 21 player. That's the sort of player we want in our team.
The unfortunate thing for him is, and I don't want to sound like we're mirroring, you know, other pods, but it is fact. We lack leaders. And so for someone like Ronnie Edwards, who he did have a tough start to the season when he was starting, you know, he got bullied by Kiefer Moore. I thought he'd done very, very well up against the big man, but he did get absolutely hounded by him for 90 minutes. Wrexham looked at that and went on him the whole game, and he stood up to the challenge very, very well. He needs someone next to him who's had the experience. And unfortunately, Jack Stevens is crap, so I'm not even going to suggest him. But he needs someone talking to him, like you said about, you know, Romeu. Maybe that's the perfect man just to go, great header there, Ronnie. You know, I don't know how these professional players talk to each other, but, you know, a bit of an arm around the shoulder or to go, sort that out, don't do that again. You know, and I guess it kind of, in that defensive era, comes back to the keeper as well, because do I believe that Bazunu is the most commanding keeper ever? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, Ramsdale last year, if someone messed up, my goodness, did they know about it? You know, he was running out at them, screaming in their face. You want that from a keeper. You want that from, you know, your other defenders holding you accountable. Instead, we let someone make a mistake and they all walk back to the halfway line with their hands in their pockets, you know, with their heads looking at the floor. And then...
Well, the other thing is, right, I mean, where we stand now, I don't think we're making the playoffs.
Nope.
So looking towards next year, do you want a 33, 34-year-old Jack Stevens, or do you want a 23-year-old Ronnie Edwards?
Yep.
It'd be criminal to get rid of him. Criminal.
I bet they will.
Yeah, I bet they will. And I bet you QPR make a tidy profit on it in a couple of years.
Yeah.
When he has some blinders and they sell him for 15, 20.
Probably. I mean, Bazunu's another one. I always, for the last couple of months, I've always felt a little bit, and I hold my hands up here, that he was on the receiving end of some some probably unfair criticism. I don't necessarily think it's all his fault. So I think the ball, I've always felt with the goalkeeper, the ball's got to travel a long way before it gets to the keeper.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of times where the defence haven't picked players up and he's had shots from close to him, whatever. But against Borough, he was atrocious. The last 2 goals were atrocious. And it sounds like this new guy's coming in. I know nothing about him. Is he any better than Bazunu? You've got to hope that he's more on the Cienza scale for Spores than Damien Downs. So we've got to trust him. I mean, if he's coming from Bayern Munich and Bayern Munich have bought him, there's obviously something about him. But, I mean, there's just so much wrong at the moment. So much wrong. And we know these players can do it because they did it.
Yeah. Well, this
so
is it.
Has Tonda pissed them off? Are they not enjoying something again? I mean, these players at the moment are utter shithouses. They get paid more in a week than a lot of us get paid in a year, and they can't put a performance in. It's disgusting. Manning is a disgrace. I would rather Wellington played and got sent off every 3rd game than Manning played, because at least Wellington puts the effort in. Manning cannot defend. I'm going off on one now. I'll leave it. But
don't make me. I'm going to stick up for my mate Manning. I don't mind him.
I don't know how you can.
Look, I told you, boys. Shocked with him a couple of times in M&S in Hedge End. I mean, I saw him at the till, but yeah, shocked with him a couple of times in Hedge End M&S.
In the lingerie section,
basically best buds. Basically. I don't think he's. I get where you're coming from. But I would rather him than Wellington, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, fair.
In a back 4.
Well, the thing is, Dan, we haven't seen enough of Wellington to really be able to make a judgment on him, have we? I mean, we've seen him at half a game here, seen him, we've seen him for a game here, we've seen him for a game there, half a game here, and then he's out or he's suspended. I mean, it gets on to the next point I was going to raise, which is the players' lack of interest. Now, Lee, you said something there which is interesting, which I heard on a podcast earlier today, that we said it keeps coming back to this about you can't always blame the manager. The players have to take some of the responsibility, and that is absolutely the case. But that 6 games where we were on fire, the players were doing it. They were putting the effort in, so they can do it. So why is there such a big drop off now? I mean, it's, they did it with Russell Martin. They threw him under the bus. They did it with even Juric. They threw him under the bus. They did it with Will Steele. And it looks to me like they're doing it again now. Just can't be asked to put in the last 10% effort. I can't be asked to stick my leg out there and get the ball, and it just.
Lee's going on Flynn Downs. Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Second goal.
Yeah.
Flynn Downs. He watched the ball go in front. If my under-15s did that on a Sunday, I'd be hammering them. It's 6 yards. Do your job. He'd watched the ball roll in front of him 7 yards from goal. What's he thinking?
Well, this is
clear it.
This is what we've been saying, or I've certainly been saying for a long, long time. For me, there's a core group of players there, and I have no evidence to back this up. So this is just my pure hearsay, in my opinion. But there's a core group of players down there that were brought in by Russell Martin, and when Russell Martin left, they shipped it in. Manning, Flynn Downs, Ryan Fraser, Howard Bellis to a certain degree. They've just phoned it in. And they wanted Russell Martin, didn't they? They came to play for Russell Martin. They're not interested in anything else. And I think as soon as the chips are down, you can see that. I mean, Ryan Manning has been an absolute disgrace this season. And I can't remember what game it was. We were down at St Mary's, Lee, and I said to you, Ryan Manning is playing at like 60%. He is an absolute disgrace.
That was Will Still's last game.
Well, so that must have been the Preston game. He was diabolical. I mean, he couldn't get the effort to put a sprint in. And I said to you, didn't I? Ryan Manning has been an absolute disgrace today. And the Nipper still keeps getting game time. And he's now getting into this whole Harry Kane thing where, you back into the player jumping on you to try and, force him down into. I don't like all of that sort of stuff.
I hate that.
And I just think this group of players, the attitude that must be on them, for them to got 1 minute be able to do it and then the next just say no, I'm not doing it.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Have you seen Alfie House's tweet?
Yeah, about players out and in.
Yeah, he tweeted, in an ideal summer 2026, I'd enthusiastically keep Charles, Yander, Fellows, Zaz, Cienza, Robinson and Armstrong. I'd hang on to Quasi, Edwards and Wood, Ruslev if he's fit. I think I'd replace everyone else. So he's basically saying the Russell Martin lot on your bike.
There you go.
So I think you've probably, because we know Flynn Downs down tools when Martin was sacked.
He wanted to go, didn't he? Because he threw his toys out the pram because Ipswich came in for him, didn't they?
Yeah.
And he threw his toys out the pram that he couldn't go then. I firmly believe it's that Russell Martin core is.
Flynn Downs didn't want the Saints move originally. No. You've got to remember that at the parade for going up, he made a shout, didn't he, of basically saying, "Oh, I can't talk about come on, you Irons." Yeah. I said that like Matty Fernandez. I couldn't help it. If anyone's seen the Matty Fernandez video, I will put a link into it in the description.
I'm not doing it.
You'll get what I'm on about. But Flynn Downs done something very similar. He did not want that Saints move. He was very much thinking, I've had a blinder in the Championship. I'm going to be playing for West Ham next year.
Yeah.
And they didn't want him.
And in fact, he nearly went to Ipswich before he signed for us because Russell Martin said as much. And Russell Martin had to do some hard work to convince him to come to Saints.
Yeah. So, Alfie House's tweet is spot on, in my opinion.
I haven't seen that. That's tonight, is it? He's tweeted.
Yeah, well, this afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, a few hours ago. But it's absolutely spot on with that list of players, in my opinion. Going back to this goalkeeper, Lee, I had no idea, but if Munich have bought him, he must be okay.
Must be okay.
From what I've read in about him at Hamburg, it isn't the greatest read ever, but I don't know what the ins and outs of that are. He's very much pushed this loan move, and they were saying, well, we're not until we've got a replacement. He's basically sat ready to come to Southampton. I can only assume that we're shipping someone off. Did we buy George Long, or is he on loan from Norwich?
I think he's on a year's loan, or something like that.
So, are we going to push Bazunu out the door? McCarthy, I like on the bench. I think he's a good on the bench option, to be honest, because if you do need him, he does step up. So I'm not angry at that. And I do feel like Bazunu, being a young lad, he needs to be playing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want him back, but in all honesty, no one wants to see a young 20-odd-year-old, early 20s, sat on the bench at a football team. They should be playing week in, week out.
I think
McCarthy's out of contract in June, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we as a club have wrecked Gavin Bazunu, because I think when we signed him, there was no way he was coming in to play every week, and because we made the wrong decision in keeping McCarthy over Fraser Forster, Bazunu was forced to play, wasn't he, in that Premier League season when we got relegated?
Yeah.
I can't remember why. Was McCarthy just bad, or did he get injured? I can't remember.
I think he
what
was
it
bad.
was.
Portsmouth fans love Bazunu.
Yeah.
And he was brilliant for them.
He came with a massive reputation for Man City, that he was one of the brightest young goalkeeping talents around. And I can't see in any way in the world that he was brought in to come in and play. And, he should have been playing either cup games, or he should have been loaned out to League One or something like that for a year and gently brought up to speed, not pushed into that Premier League relegation team where we were atrocious. That would have done nothing for him. And then he's marked then, and he's tainted with the relegation and everything, and it was a very difficult year for him that year, as well as a lot of the others. That's water under the bridge. But I think for Gavin Bazunu, there was no coming back from that really, and he's. I think he needs a clean start somewhere. He needs to go somewhere and just settle on things and just start again and
go get Lumley.
Yeah,
loved him. Great keeper.
I mean, it's there's problems from top to bottom, isn't there? I mean, I've made a few notes as we've been going through. The Leo Cienza minutes that he's been protecting, the keeper situation. The centre backs that we've already touched on is another awful set of centre backs. Really, I mean, Taylor Harwood-Bellis is a great player on paper. I mean, but he phones it in when he wants. I mean, he's there's just no leaders there, and Jack Stevens, our mum said today, Lee, didn't she? Oh, you need Jack Stevens on the pitch. He's a leader. But I said, even when he's on the pitch, I can't see much leadership coming from him. You imagine Jan Bednarek in that back three now.
Yep.
He's more of a leader than Jack Stevens was.
Yeah.
We haven't had a natural leader in this club. I mean, James Ward-Prowse was captain, wasn't he? But I didn't really
Wasn't a
see
leader.
him. He wasn't a leader. Romeu is, roll your sleeves up, wipe the blood away from your eyes and get on with it and fight and die for the club. That's a proper leader.
You'd think Harwood-Bellis is getting his arse kicked at the Christmas table, wouldn't you? His father-in-law is Roy Keane. I mean, if I were Roy Keane, I'd be saying, "I've seen your games, mate. Get away from my daughter. You are crap." And
yeah, but we know he's not.
I get it.
He's
Obviously,
not.
we
That's
don't.
the thing. We know he's not crap.
But do you risk it and give him the armband?
He was
only
one
captain,
wasn't he?
I probably would, because I think with the one thing, some people call it Paul, some people don't. He does dig players out.
Yeah,
he will have a pop of players, and he has been an England captain all of his life, up to the under 21s or under 23s, whatever it was. He won. Did he win the World Cup, the European Championships as England captain? I think I would. I don't think Adam Armstrong's a captain.
Neither.
No.
He's got that on experience in his tenure at the club.
Yeah.
And nothing
I wouldn't
more.
give it to him. I mean, I've touched on it before. I think Romeo must play 90 minutes on Saturday against Doncaster. And I don't think he will. But he's got to play. They've got to try and get him somewhere up to speed. Because it's a pointless signing. He's going to be on big money.
Yeah.
But what's the point of getting him?
Lee, the issue we've got here is that they took him out of the matchday squad to put Ross Stewart on. Now, I know, Matt, I don't want to ruin your agenda, but sort of January transfers is a topic to touch on.
That was the next one.
That is an absolute coincidence. Sorry, it is not a coincidence that Ross Stewart has made his way back onto the bench and went onto the field in the month of January as the transfer window opens. That is I hope he bags us a couple of goals so that people will shut up about us needing a striker. And then if he tears his hamstring in February, guess what? All the board will cry. They'll go into a hole, and we won't see him again until June, when they have to do a statement as to why we didn't go up and we're having to sell all these players. There is no coincidence. There is an absolute coincidence in that. It's just awful, awful, awful. So Romeo will not be playing 90 minutes because Ross Stewart is going to be on the bench, in the next league game. I actually probably think he starts against Doncaster to get some minutes.
Agreed.
And I'd probably see him scoring against Doncaster. I've got nothing against Ross Stewart. I think he's been super unlucky, and I feel for the lad. I feel like it's one of those players, and he'll go down as a, what if he didn't get injured? What if he did stay fit? But we can't, as fans, we're not going to live by what ifs. We want results, and we want them now. So I see that as I guess the point I'm trying to get to, and I was thinking about this earlier. What is the leadership structure up above the manager and the players, and who actually does what? Because I couldn't tell you, and I was listening to Going Home with Adam and Joe, and they sort of touched on it very briefly, and I think Adam went, "Oh well, I think Johannes Spors is in charge of the football stuff." I'm not being funny. If he's the main reporter from BBC Radio Solent and he doesn't know what the guy does, what chance have we got? Who is making these decisions on players inbound, outbound? And who's got the purse strings at the end of the day is what I want to know.
Well, I don't think anyone knows. I mean, Johannes Spors is in charge of football matters, isn't he? So he came out and said he was responsible for sacking Will Still. It was his decision to sack Will Still. So you got to presume that him and his team. I mean, they've got scouts, haven't they? That scout all these different players and write reports on these different players. And I would imagine all these scouts, they find suitable players that they think will be good for the club. They go into a pot and then they look into them further, and they assess them and they look into their character and stuff like that, and then they probably make a joint decision. Right? Yeah, we go with that one. But Tonda won't get any say in that, I wouldn't have thought.
I just don't think we have any signings coming in other than this keeper, and then the keeper one is purely to stop the hate coming in from the fans. That's a reactive measure. That is not a proactive measure from the football club.
But if you were in, well, whoever it is in charge running the club, if you were in their situation, looking at it now, would you be prepared to put your hand in and spend 20, 25, 30 million on a couple of players, 3 players?
I'd be on the phone paying my 5 mil back to Newcastle, saying he played 2 games for you and then you've put him back on the bench. We'll give you Bazunu and your 5 mil back. And I'd be on the phone to Ramsdale saying, do you know what? You're not near the England squad. Come and play every game. And if we do not go up, we will sell you. We'll cut up our fucking agreement of a fee, and we will make sure that we sell you to a good club in the summer. Is what I would be doing personally. You've just got this guy on loan. There's a fee there, wages. So now that'll be 4 key first team keepers on the books.
Yeah.
Why? And you pay 2 loan fees in that with George Long and this fella, with an option to buy for 8 mil. I think I've read. So yeah, that's where I'd be, Matt. I'd be on the phone.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't think there's any way McCarthy and Bazunu stay if this lad comes in. I think because McCarthy will go at the end of the season, they'll keep him till the end of the season. I would imagine Bazunu will find himself away on loan somewhere in the coming weeks. Which, I'm the same as you, Leo. I didn't want to keep getting on his back, but when you look at it, I think sometimes it's difficult to see the wood for the trees, and when you take a step back and you actually look at it, you think, well, I am biased because I'm a Saints fan, but actually, when you look at it, he's fucking atrocious.
He does have a worldie in him though,
and he dives over the ball, and you just look at some of the stuff he's done, like that looping header. Who was that against? Was it Birmingham?
Yeah,
where he just sort of,
and he's on his line.
All he had to do was move back and jump and catch the ball, and he sort of dived. Didn't I don't understand what he does.
Statistically, the worst goalkeeper in the league.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You can't have that.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's a shame, but I hope this new lad is all right. I mean, like you've both said, I mean, to be at Bayern Munich, for Bayern Munich to sign him, then he's got to have something about him. I mean, where else would you want to see us strengthen?
I think if they can get Roslev fit, and they've got Roslev. See, if it were me, I'd take James Bree back, because I think he's a decent Championship player. He's got a goal in him. He is an athlete. He's very rarely injured. He's up and down. He's strong. and I think he could do a good job. And that releases Tom Fellows to be a winger. If all of a sudden you can release Tom Fellows to be a winger, he can maybe go on instead of Cienza. You've got Azaz there. You've got a few different options. If they're not going to get Ruslev fit and they're not going to get James Reed back, we could probably do with another wide player.
Yep.
To take some pressure off Cienza and Fellows and Azaz. And we need a striker. We need a big striker. We needed a big striker in the summer. What Southampton should have done, they should have identified the top 1, 2, 3, 4 strikers in the league, gone and bought one of them. You need a decent striker. And I don't understand it, because Will Still wanted to play 4-2-3-1. So did they buy him a big guy? They'll say they bought Damien Downs, and I'm sure they thought he was going to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But they needed a proven big guy who was going to score goals in the Championship.
We had one. We had one.
Second highest scorer in Turkey at the moment.
Yep. And you knew who the man I was on about. I'm not being funny. He would have destroyed people in this division, and we just did not give him the chance. And that was one because his face didn't fit with Martin in particular until it was too late and he panicked. You know, and I know we're treading over old ground here, but we had one. We had one, and he wouldn't have been much. I think we only got 4 mil for him in the end. We took a loss. Fucking keep him.
Mm.
You know, and he doesn't just offer a big guy up front. He offers a bit more.
No look pass.
No look pass, couple of overstep of built skyscrapers, you know. But
he's exactly the type of player we need. I mean, but I don't think he wanted to stay, did he? I think he wanted.
I think he wanted to be the main man, and I think they banked on, because Ross Stewart obviously had quite a good pre-season in terms of fitness. And they brought Damien Downs in. I think they went, we don't need 3, and he realised he was going to be third in the queue.
Yeah,
I just want to go on to something that I've just popped up on my phone. We shared this yesterday in our chat. I believe it was yesterday. It was 4 years ago to the day of the acquisition. So 166 league matches, 47 wins, 35 draws, 84 defeats, 210 goals scored, 294 goals conceded, 2 relegations, 7 permanent managers. And when they took over, we were 13th in the Premier League, and we are, I think, 15th now at the moment.
And when they took over, Ralph Hasenhüttl's Saints destroyed Brentford 4-0.
That was on the very first day they took over.
Very first day.
So,
and what did they do for Ralph? They didn't give him any money.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? You know, we got this manager merry-go-round that we seem to be on now, and you know, we're talking about all these managers. You know, Will Still had barely any experience. You know, Tonda's got no managerial experience at all. He's been a coach wherever he's been. When they took over, we had a manager who had Champions League experience, and they didn't back him. They didn't give him any money. They sold the best assets we had. Danny Ings, never replaced him.
We're a pushover club.
Criminal.
We're a pushover club, and then the only thing these owners care about is money. That's all they care about, and that's why I go back to what's saying. I want to understand what people actually do, because, you know, go back to that fan meeting, you know, sort of before the season started. Phil Parsons was involved with the sale of players, you know, quite clearly with the Fernandes one, and Dibbling and everything like that. But then since then, all the guy's done is set up a bowling alley, because that's all he cares about is revenue going into the club. I get that's not me knocking up into level 1, think it's really good. But people will stop spending money if results do not improve. And so people will stop going to level 1. People will stop going to the games. People won't renew their season tickets because they'll just be fed up with it. And I think until that point happens, they're sitting pretty. They're loving life. They're not going to change anything. The only thing that can change for Southampton is the ownership, or the ownership stays, but new people come in to actually run a football club, not run a fucking merry-go-round.
It's interesting, this conversation, because I mean, we all listen to all the other podcasts, and listening to the others today, you can't, as you said, Dan, you can't knock what they've done on the commercial side. The commercial side has to be there to carry the club forward.
Yep.
But is it the owners, or is it the people that the owners got running the club? Because as far as Dragan Solak's concerned, I think Adam Blackmore said this, he is keeping up his side of the bargain. He is putting his hand in his pocket continually. Right.
Yep.
You want to pay that guy off? Okay, we'll pay that guy off. You want to sign this player? Okay, we'll go out and sign this player. I mean, now, whether anyone thinks he's putting his hand in his pocket enough to sign these players is another matter. But he is keeping up his side of the bargain, isn't he? He is bankrolling the club. It's the decisions being made by the people that he's got and trusting to run the, Johannes Spors, what an indictment it is for Johannes Spors that the striker that he thought was the answer to all our prayers is now on the verge of going back to Germany on loan. I mean, as Adam Blackmore said, or whoever it was that said it, if that isn't a slap in the face and that's a poor decision, then that definitely is, isn't it? You've failed there. So it's, I don't like all this, and this is the way modern football's gone, isn't it? You're not a manager anymore. And Ruben Amorim has come out and said this, and that's why he's got the sack, isn't it? He's come out and said, I didn't come here to be the head coach. I came here to be the manager. And these head coaches, managers, they haven't got any say in who clubs are signing, because those players that were signed when Will Steele was here, I don't reckon he wanted any of those players. He would have had a list of players from, coming from France. He would have had a list of players, and he would have said, right, he's a really good player in France. He could definitely do a job for us. They didn't get anyone that Will Steele wanted.
We were linked with them.
Yeah, they
but
were
never
all
went and got them
off the black box or whatever it is they've got. So who's
so
making
is it the
these
board?
decisions?
So is it the hierarchy dictating how we play?
Well, there is that rumor.
Because
there is that rumor.
Currently, the way I feel about this manager merry-go-round is that we're trying to have this big club mentality and almost throwing shit at a wall until something sticks. And we'll get another Russell Martin, and because he is the last, recent successful manager, getting us promoted and whatnot, we'll get one who will get us promoted, and then it'll go to shit, and then we'll be back in this same pit until we truly back someone. And again, it comes back to what I always say, and maybe this is just me from the sort of corporate world, is that communication's vital, and we just get none from the ownership. The fan base would be a lot more understanding if, whether it was Will Steele, whether it's Tonda, whether it's the next bloke, they come out and go, this is a project. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a real rough ride, but we are going to get it right, and we're going to really be careful with who we sign. We're going to listen to the manager. We're going to listen to the fans as to what football they want to see and see if we can adapt that, and go from there. We'd all be much more understanding of going, do you know what? Yes, we've lost 4 on the bounce, but we've played really well, and we can see patterns of play. We can understand what the team is actually trying to achieve. Obviously, we're trying to achieve winning a game, but obviously there's more to it, within that 90-minute period. But we don't get that. We don't get that. They're all sat hiding away. And, I think Alfie Howe said it. His interview with Spurs got delayed a fair few times at the beginning of this season. And then conveniently, it was as Tonda was doing well that he finally done the interview.
It's funny, they said on the Saints Network podcast today, they said it's funny how Johannes Spors, he agreed to an interview when we were doing really well. Do you think he'd come out and talk to anyone now? No chance.
I saw one earlier as well on Twitter that some chap said, there's usually a half-year fan advisory board meeting. Hasn't been one arranged. And I don't get me wrong, it'd be pointless. Some idiot would be moaning about stickers in the fucking season ticket book or Saints badge on. I mean, to be fair, I hate not having the Saints badge on top of the pies, but I wouldn't waste the question to Phil Parsons on where the hell is my Saints badge on top of my pucker pie. But unfortunately, yeah, the fans are part of the issue as well. And I get why. It's been a really tough few years, but we've got quite a toxic fan base and too many happy clappers. Nothing will change. I saw people on the camera. There was one bloke on the camera of the TV after the Borough game, and he was going in on the players, screaming at them. And then there's 20 other people. What are you clapping for?
Yeah.
They should be clapping you for driving fucking 6 hours each way.
Yeah.
It baffles me.
So, where do you want to see it go now? What do you want to see happen? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, if I may, so our next 4 games: Doncaster away, cup game. No one gives a shit. Let's be perfectly honest. We have then got Hull at home, Sheffield United at home midweek, Portsmouth away. That is 3 tough games.
Yeah.
For me, if he only gets a point against Hull, loses to Sheffield United, loses to Pompey, I think he could be gone. Because I think it will be so toxic. The big game for him is Portsmouth. If he gets that wrong and we go down to Fratton Park and we lose 2-0, 3-1, he's done. The fans, and it comes back to what you said, Dan, we are poor fans, but we've been served up tripe for the last 5 years. We've got no patience. All our patience, all the goodwill and the currency that Tonda's earned over that 6 games where he won, it's gone. It's gone already.
Yeah.
If we, Hull, if we don't beat them, or if we do beat Hull, but then you don't beat Sheffield United and you lose to Pompey, the Pompey game is massive here. It was still.
Arguably, I think the Doncaster game is bigger than what you make out. I get what you mean. A cup game, we don't really care about the cup. But if he loses, Doncaster, to me, I don't see him making as many changes as people think. And I think he needs a statement win.
Yeah.
And I'm talking a 5-6-0, and I'm talking fucking 70% possession, 20 shots on target sort of scenario. I think he needs a statement win to really boost people before those important games. I think you lose against Doncaster and you have just burned yourself before even getting to the important stuff.
Yeah, quite possibly. And yeah, that's a fair point. But Hull's a tough game. Sheffield United is a super tough game. And then Pompey at Fratton Park. And the thing that worries me, our players don't give a shit. They are going to be super up for it.
Hull have got Ollie McBurney, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, he is going to absolutely have fun.
Well,
he will make Nathan Wood lose his head.
Yeah.
Because he's that type of striker. He's the striker that we should have gone and got, if anything. He's proven.
So for me, I think the next, 3 weeks? 2 weeks? 22nd, Pompey, isn't it?
No, 26th.
26th. So the next 3 weeks.
Or 25th.
4 weeks. 2 weeks, 3 weeks are absolutely massive.
Yeah.
I also think he could probably get away with getting 4 points against Hull and Sheffield United. But then if you go to Fratton Park, put in a shit performance and you get beat, I think we may not see the fans turn on him, but I think you'll see the fans go, I don't give a shit anymore. And it'll just be, the atmosphere against Middlesbrough was appalling. It was dull. The game was as dull as dishwater. There was no atmosphere. It was flat. There wasn't a lot of cheering.
I think we've said in our chat as well, had we have kept up some of that momentum, we wouldn't be that far behind Coventry right now. No. We were a few points off that sort of 4th place. And then they've been on a dip. They have, and they are in their dip right now. Mm-hmm. So all it would have taken is a couple of good wins, 1-0. Doesn't have to be spectacular. And we are right up next to them. Instead, Ipswich are. And Ipswich are going to go and win the league, in my opinion.
Ipswich will win the league. Great.
And Coventry will go up in automatics.
Yeah.
I think you said it before, Lee, on one of the last episodes. Next year, the Championship is a different beast.
Yeah.
Wolves...
Likely
Wolves, West Ham and Burnley, I think, is who it's going to be. And West Ham, I mean, today have just spent 40 million quid on a striker. They're not selling him in 6 months' time.
No.
So it's a different beast next year. It really, really is. And then if we've got to rebuild, we've got no hope. It's 2 years at least until we're ready to go back up.
I mean, for me, I don't think Tonda's here next year if we don't go up. I think if we don't reach the playoffs, I don't think he's here. I think minimum expectation, he has to reach the playoffs, personally. And as I say, I can see if he gets poor results in the next 4 games, I can see it all going wrong. And we are sliding ever so slowly towards the relegation zone. And if we get dragged in, which would be a disgrace in itself, given the squad, you could see a third manager again.
I'm with you, Dan. I think that Doncaster game's big. I think if he goes and loses that, he has got all sorts of trouble.
Yep.
Trying to convince those players that he is still worthy of being manager, because you know what this group of players is like. They, something happens, they lose respect, they lose the authority for the manager, and they ship it in. And so I think if he loses that Doncaster game, I think he's got big problems before the big 3 league games come along. So I'm with you on that, Dan. But yeah, he goes away to Portsmouth and puts in a shit performance. I don't think it matters what happens against Hull and Sheffield United, to be honest. If he goes down to Fratton Park and loses that to a team that are hanging in,
they are shit.
They
are shit.
I mean, they've got so many injury problems. I think they've got like 12 first-team players out injured, and there was talk of they were going to try and get that.
They absolutely. They have kept games on in much worse weather conditions than -2.
Yeah.
Lee, you're a turf technician yourself. It wouldn't have been hard, would it, to protect that? And when you see teams like Crawley putting a tent over and pumping warm air in overnight, that's a shambles. They should be fined.
They should be. The game should be conceded.
Yeah,
because it's a disgrace. But Pompey have had this already. I mean, they are tin pot. They've had their floodlights go down. They're just a shithouse club, aren't they?
And Mazzini didn't do an interview.
They're shit. I hate them, but I'm petrified about going there to play them.
Yeah, I mean,
because our players are shithouses. Our players are not going to like being a metre away from their fans.
No. And they will push. They will get pushed into the stand. We saw it with Sunderland. Do you remember Luca 9 got pushed into the stand against Pompey, and one of their fans kicked him and stuff while he was on the deck?
Yeah.
The only one that I can see enjoying that is Flynn Downs, and he'll get sent off.
Wellington are 2 foot someone just for the hell of it. But but it comes back to trying to get a player like Romeo on the pitch for those games.
So can I ask you both a question? If he sets up against Doncaster away, 5 at the back, surely, I mean, I don't want to answer the question for you, but surely that's not acceptable.
No. Well, first thing I'll do is turn my stream off because I won't be watching it. No, I mean, this is what I said earlier. He's got to show us now that he's got a set of kahunas and he's prepared to change it. And it's not, and he can't keep going, 3 at the back's not the problem. Mate, you haven't won a game in 6 games or whatever it is. You need to do something different. It's not working.
I mean, you're against a League 2 team at Doncaster or League 1?
Yeah. League 1. Yeah. But they're in
League
the bottom
1.
3.
In the bottom 3.
I think they're third bottom.
It's crying out. You don't need 2 sitting in front of a defence. Chuck Cameron Bragg in front, who does a magnificent job. If it's not Romeo, if you're going to say Romeo, if not, play Romeo. But just tell him, sit in front of the 4. and go traditional. Yellott's fit, so give him some minutes. Give Wellington some minutes at left back and just play 4 at the back. And then chuck a load of players up the pitch to go and
Make
get
no
some
mistake,
goals.
this is a banana skin.
But this is what I mean. You know,
Donny will be looking at this going, Saints are there for the taking. They are not playing well.
I agree.
I mean, I think he will use the opportunity to play a load of the fringe players purely for self-preservation. If he makes 10 changes and he loses, I did make 10 changes because those players needed the minutes.
What
So
game
I
was
think he
it that
will
Will
play.
Steele done something similar? You know, he made a load of changes, didn't he? And then we won.
Must have been
And then
must have been
he
the
went and like
Carabao.
kept the changes then throughout, and it was like
Was it
Edwards in the
Sheffield
team.
United away when
I think so, wasn't it? And he made like 5-6 changes, and then all of a
Should
sudden that was
score.
his starting 11.
yeah.
So, I mean, hope he doesn't do that. You know, imagine he starts a load of fringe players, they win 7-0, and he goes, "That's our starting 11 against Hull." No, don't do that.
It was
I mean,
Liverpool away where he made a load of changes, didn't he? And we
That's
were
the
really,
one.
really good, weren't we?
And we were really
Cienza
good.
started, and then we went
Yellow
away.
started.
Yeah, and then we drew 1-1 with Middlesbrough the following game, didn't we? But then we went away to Sheffield United, and we beat Sheffield United 2-1, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I
So,
think it
yeah,
was that Liverpool
yeah.
game that was the
Yeah.
catalyst, Matt. I think
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I going back to talking about what happens next for us. I think, as you said, he's on the sticky wicket. If he goes to Fratton Park and don't get a result down there, I think I think the fans have already turned against him. I think the next home game, what's that, Hull? I think it will be a bit of a toxic place pretty quickly if we don't start well and we don't get an early goal. So I think.
Where are Hull in the league?
Oh, they're in the playoffs, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they are.
Hull are 7th.
Yeah.
That's
So
a tough game.
they're doing all right. They're a big physical
yeah.
side, aren't they? With Ollie McBurney up front, they battered us up there, didn't they? 3-1 we lost up there. Those mistakes all came from the centre backs, didn't they? If you remember. But I can't see any way in which Saints get rid of another manager. They can't have
Do you
another
not? Oh, I
season
can.
with 3 managers in charge.
I can see him doing it.
Can
I
you?
can. If we lose, say we get 1 point from the next 3, we could possibly only be 3 or 4 points above the relegation zone.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I mean, I'm being very, very.
I'm looking
down
now.
in the mouth
We're
about
not.
this.
We're 9 points clear at the moment.
I mean, I'm being very defeatist. But this, I'm afraid, is where the club have
rightly
lost.
so, Lee. You know, I'm looking at the table now. Sheffield United are climbing with Chris Wilder. They're starting to.
Always going to.
Yeah. West Brom are currently drawing against Leicester, 1-1. You know, if West Brom sneak a goal, they then go above us, and we're actually in 16th. You know, and they've got like a couple of minutes left. And there's a couple of teams behind us that got games in hand. You know, Pompey in 21st, 2 games in hand. They win both of them, and we lose. They're 2 points behind us.
yeah.
You know, so it is. Yeah, it's testing times.
Well,
I mean, I just want to
give me predictions then for those 4 games. Doncaster in the Cup, Hull, Sheffield United at home, Portsmouth away. Give me predictions. What do you think?
I think we get past Doncaster. I don't think it's going to be your statement win like you're hoping for, Dan. I think it's going to be a sneaky 2-1 or something like that. I think he'll make a lot of changes. I think you'll see. I don't think you'll see Pazunu play for us again. I think McCarthy will come in, and he'll make a lot of change. He'll play. He'll start Wellington, and I don't think Ronnie Edwards will play because I think he's going to go in. But I think there'll be changes, and I really want to see Romeo play. I think you'll see Archer start, if not Ross Stewart. The fringe players will play. Robinson will play. You know, that sort of thing. But I think we'll get a sneaky 2-1, 3-1, something like that. Hull, I think we'll lose. we'll lose to Hull, and I think we're going to lose to Sheffield United as well, because they're both tough northern clubs coming down, big physical sides. I just don't think we've got the minerals about us to do it. And the Pompey game is just a complete lottery in it. I mean, they are dreadful. But I just think, as you said, Lee, going down there to that little ground where the fans are right on top of you, I just think it will be too much for us. And I think we'll just collapse. I think we'll get bullied, and I think we'll lose it. So what do you do after that if you don't pick up a single point in those 3 games? I mean, I know I've said I can't see them getting rid of him again, but how can they not? We're back to where we were, where we've been so many times before, haven't we? We were here sort of 3 months ago with Will Still. Not even 3 months ago, was it? When did he go? November,
yeah.
2 months ago. Same situation with Will Still. We were here with even Juric. We went away to Spurs, didn't we? And it was dreadful. And you were just like, there's no way he can stay. And then with Russell Martin, it's just
Tottenham again, wasn't it, at home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just awful. And I just don't know what the answer is. I don't know how they turn it around. I think unless that core group of players gets shipped out, I think whoever comes, I don't think Tonda will be there next season unless he finishes in the playoffs. And I just can't see us finishing in the playoffs. We have to have some monumental turnaround again. What are we, 8 points off the playoffs, 7 points off the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's 7.
That's 3 wins really before anyone else has done it. I just can't see it. And so I can't see Tonda being there next season. And it's funny listening to Joe Tessum, and a proper football man, an ex-professional, and he says, why are Saints always trying to be clever? Why are we always trying to outsmart football? The formula is to succeed in the Championship, you buy good Championship players that have got experience and have done it before. What's wrong with having a 34-year-old Luke Ayling, is what Adam Blackmore said. What's wrong with having 34-year-old Luke Ayling, who knows the league inside out, can just sit there, play, dictate? What's wrong with that? Why has it got to be a 20-year-old kid from Germany that has never played in this country before? Or he might be good on paper, but he's never done it before. What's wrong? We're always trying to be clever. We're always trying to outsmart football, and we haven't done it. We've never done it, but we're still trying to do it. I need a big striker, so I'm going to go and buy an unknown, unproven American kid who's not played in this country before. I'm going to go and spaff a load of money on him. When I could go and buy, or I could keep Paul Onuachu, who's already here. He's big, he's strong. We know what he's about. Let's just no. We'll try and be clever. We'll try and outplay football, and we'll do something a bit. I
nearly carried on your rhyme then.
I nearly did as well. Dan, what do you think about this game?
He's strong. I think Doncaster, I think we win on penalties. I think it does go there. To be honest, I said he needs a statement win. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it goes to penalties. Hull, I can see being a 2-2 draw. I think we'll lose against Sheffield United. I think we lose against Pompey. I think we lose against Portsmouth. I don't feel like we've got anyone up for it.
No,
I don't think they know how to get up for it, and unfortunately, I see us having a team of players who have the potential and the ability to, but will do it by getting hot-headed. And I mentioned a Flynn Downs, Nathan Wood. One of them will get sent off, and we'll pay the price for it.
Yeah,
That's where I sit, and I think I think Tonda's gone after the Portsmouth game.
What do you think, Lee? Or have you already said? I can't remember.
No, sorry, I was enjoying the Dan stare at the camera when he said that. Yeah, I mean, personally, I take losing to Doncaster if we win the next 3 after that. I don't care. But I think we probably will sneak past Doncaster. It might be a 2-1, 3-1. I think they should have enough in the tank to do that. Hull, a draw. Sheffield United, a draw. I can see 2 draws at home. I just can't see us beating Pompey. I can't see it. They are dreadful. I mean, I know a couple of Pompey fans, and I saw one of them on Sunday, and he said, if you don't beat us, you're an embarrassment. He said, because a pub team could beat us. He said, we're that poor. We don't create, we don't score, we can't defend. He said, it's embarrassing. But I just think they will be so up for it, and they'll raise their game, and they will. Hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. And I think that is what will happen in this game.
Yeah.
They will kill themselves until the final whistle, and we will, especially if it starts to go a bit wrong, we'll just capitulate.
Pompey could go and get relegated, and they'd still be happy as long as they beat us once.
Correct.
They genuinely will not give a toss about being relegated as long as they beat us.
Yeah.
Whereas
Saints fans, I've had people say to me, we could get promoted, but if we lose to Pompey twice, they'll be devastated.
Yep.
Or lose to Pompey once, they'll be devastated.
Because that's all we'll live about. That's all we will hear about and live with.
We beat you. We beat you.
Yeah, and that's all they will care about. They've got no ambition.
No. They're tinpot. They've got no facilities. They've got no youth set up. They've got nothing.
They got no fans.
Oh no, they won the FA Cup in 1903 or something. Yeah, well done. Pre-war doesn't count, lads. You know, and when you did win the FA Cup under old twitchy face, it ruined you for good because you still haven't recovered from spending all that money. But I just think they will be more up for it, and I think I'm similar to you, Dan. I can see if the next 4 go wrong, I can see him gone. And I can see them pumping for, because they were told, I mean, Alfie House and Blackmore said this, the people inside the club telling Dragon Slolak, you cannot appoint Tonda. You have to get an experienced manager. And I can see them going and getting Tony Mowbray just to see us through the end of the season. Honestly, I can. And I don't think I would, if it came to that, I don't think I'd have any problem with that, because I think he would probably steer the ship till the end of the season. I mean, we joke about
it just
Warnock.
can't go on like this.
It can. We joke about Warnock. Warnock
Don't.
would have been the perfect manager.
If there would be no one else on this planet I would want in charge of that group of footballers than Neil Warnock on South Coast Derby Day. Because he would drum it into them about the importance. You know, he's the type of man that strikes me that he'd be outside their house bricking their windows to go, that's what it's going to be like come Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, and he would be slashing their tyres in the car park going, that's what it's going to be like come Sunday. Throwing shit at them as they're playing on the training pitch. You could see him doing it, you know, but he would understand it. And he wouldn't care about anything else other than the importance of it for the fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we said against Millwall the other day, Lee, didn't we? That, you know, the way some of these players, the half-hearted, half-assed performances that they're producing, there's no way a Neil Warnock or a Alex Neil or somebody like that, an older
Mark
bloke.
Robbins.
Yeah, with experience. There's no way a manager like that accepts Ryan Manning's half-assed performances that he's putting in. They wouldn't get back in the team.
No.
They'd be, you know, he'd have them off and he'd be saying, get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Putting in a performance like that, absolutely shambolic. But Will Still and Tonda, just young kids, aren't they? Really, in the grand scheme of things, they're not a lot older than most of the players. They don't command the same sort of respect that a Neil Warnock or a Tony Mowbray, somebody like that, or heaven forbid, we'd got David Moyes in,
Just look where Everton are.
Yeah.
Look where
Yeah.
Everton are in the league,
Or
the players that he's attracting.
Yeah. Or Sean Dyche. You imagine Sean Dyche in charge of that lot down there? Bloody hell. You imagine it. And this is what we said, when they appointed Tonda. Surely they now have to understand that if you want to get out of this league, you've got to appoint an experienced manager, an older, experienced head that is going to guide us out of this league. Not, as I said, trying to beat football, trying to be clever, trying to outsmart everyone else and doing something, something that's different. It just doesn't work. And they just don't seem to learn. So I would worry that if Tonda went, I would worry who they bring in next, to be perfectly honest. I have absolutely no faith or trust that shower of incompetent buffoons running the football side down there could make a proper decision and bring somebody in.
And we're gonna be in the same issue that we found ourselves in when we got rid of Will Still. That if it is in the next 3 weeks he doesn't do enough and they get rid of him, United, Celtic, probably West Ham. The rumour is Dyche will be gone from Forest as well if they carry on.
Let's hope they do, because we can get Dyche into us.
Yeah,
I agree, Lee. But what I'm saying is that in terms of competition for managers, for those who are free agents, again, they're not going to look at, and I hate to say this, little old Southampton, when you've got those teams with money behind them, willing to spend on quality to keep them in the Premier League and get to the Premier League.
I do think if West Ham have gone out and spent 40 million on a striker today, I'm not sure that's the actions of a club that are about to sack their manager, is it? I don't know.
From what I was reading earlier, he's on the hotline. I think they've got Forest this weekend, and
right.
or whenever the next Premier League game is, it's West Ham Forest, I believe, and both of those positions are, volatile. I mean, we've just seen Wilfred Nancy get sacked in 36 days.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
make no mistake, Tonda is not safe as houses.
No,
absolutely not.
But we've got this big club mentality, and we are not. Again, it pains me to say it. We're not a big football club.
No.
We're not.
No, it's very poor, but it does worry me. Which left field person they bring in to be next manager? I mean, it does frighten me. You think surely common sense prevails. You've tried these unproven left field managers. You've signed these untested, unproven kids to come in and play. It's not worked. Surely you now have to see sense. Surely you now have to realise that you need experience and you need somebody who knows what they're doing. They must be able to see that. And it just goes to prove, Lee, if the rumour you heard was that there were a couple of people within the club telling Dragan Solak that he needed to appoint an experienced manager, and they go off and get Tonda, it just proves Solak has got no input whatsoever with the football decisions in the club.
Yeah.
He is purely hand in his pocket man.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is, maybe Dragan needs to address his stuff before anything else. I don't know.
That's pretty damning. All three of us have got them to lose at Fratton Park.
It comes, games like that. You need to stand up and be counted and prove who's a man, and show everyone how big your balls are. And I just don't think that group of players have got it about them to do it.
No, I agree.
I really don't.
I agree, Matt.
There we go. Anyway, anyone else want to say anything about anything else?
No, I think for me, I just can't believe we're back here again. I mean, it's just unfathomable to me how this is happening. It really is. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. And we're at a point, I mean, we're lucky, Matt. We got a nice little family thing going on. Dan, you come and sit with us when there's a ticket going. You know, we go with our mum, our two sons, and we've now got our mum saying, I can't be asked to go. I really can't. We were doing lots of away games. It was good fun. And they've sucked the life out of us. We haven't been to Charlton was the last away game we went to. I can't see me wanting to spend another 35 quid on a ticket to go to an away game. They are sucking the life out of us.
Mm.
Yeah,
and this goes back to the thing about, you know, the toxic fan base. Well, it's been like this for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, not to keep going on about the past, but I remember us sitting when Nathan Jones was in charge, Lee, and it was just awful, absolutely awful. But for me, it's the decisions that are being made around the footballing side is what's killing it for me, because you just can't see that they've got any foresight or vision to pull themselves up out of it. You know, if they employed a decent manager and they got some decent players in, at least you could see that they were moving in the right direction. But this continual signing of players, you know, that might be all right, they might not be all right, but, you know, if they are all right, we'll be able to sell them for a big profit. That's the mentality that they've got with signing players now, and it's just not going to work. And we can all see it, all the fans can see it, but it's just them that can't. So it is very sad. It is very sad. But maybe we need to readdress our beliefs for the season. You know, we all thought we were going to go straight back up again.
I think
Maybe.
I was the only one that said I don't think we will. I think we
I thought we'd make playoffs
to that first poddy, you know. But yeah, it's like I say. Well, at least the podcasts are back.
Pods are back.
You know, the pods are back. We'll chat with the boys. We'll publish these out.
We need to reconvene before the Portsmouth game.
Yeah, I mean, these are going to be more regular now. I think we've agreed that we can find a slot at least, you know, every 10 days or so. So we've
got Doncaster on Saturday, and then there's another week break until Hull, isn't there?
Yeah.
So we'll get one in.
We'll get one in before the whole game, I think, definitely.
And then before the Pompey game, I think.
Yeah, it's a must.
And then perhaps we should do not a live one straight after Portsmouth, because we are going to the.
We're going there, aren't we? Yeah, actually, yeah, we're going to be at the Northern stand, aren't we? So yeah, not going to put any money into it, but I will buy some beers.
Yeah. I might do some live recording during the game. We can put it online, but
we have got a special guest attending the Pompey game.
Oh, we have, yeah, we have. Hopefully,
so might get the special guest on the poddy.
Some luck.
Might get him on the poddy. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Probably talks more sense than us.
No doubt. No doubt.
Sure.
But no other business from me.
No. Apart from that.
Cool. Well, good to chat, fellas.
Indeed. Yeah, we'll get this out, and I think it's got a bit of everything, hasn't it? Roy Keane impressions, Matty Fernandez impressions, and talking absolute nonsense. So,
Matty.
Yeah. Wish you all a good evening, and see you again soon.
See you later.
We're fucking unreal at this now. Do you know that?